It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Wednesday, August 21st. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, brought to you by Serve Wyoming, Wyoming's Center for Volunteerism and AmeriCorps service for the last 30 years. For volunteer opportunities, visit servewyoming.org. Well, Wyoming's primary elections are over, which for many districts in Wyoming means the decision has been made by voters already who their elected representatives will be months before the general election. The evening was marked by a number of unexpected upsets. Cowboy State Daily's Leah Wolfson highlights the races in which the incumbents were voted out.
It was a night of the upsets, is what I would call it. I mean, if there was one theme, it would be very difficult to argue that the Freedom Caucus didn't have a successful night. Representative Dan Zwanitzer, who was seeking his 11th term in the House, was taken out by Ann Lucas in a not particularly close race. One of the wins for the Wyoming caucus, I don't know if I would call it an upset, but it was just notable. Representative Barry Crago won his bid for the Senate over fellow Representative Mark Jennings up there in northern Wyoming. Both those legislators have quite a pedigree, all been in the legislature for quite a while, so that just was kind of an important race. And then obviously Clark Stiff, the number 3 member of the House, losing his race to Darren McCann, who is just a relative unknown commodity on the political scene. Definitely was a shocker that I don't think many people saw coming.
One of the most significant upsets reported over the course of the evening was in House District 20, where Speaker of the House Albert Summers lost his race to Kemmerer sheep rancher and school bus driver Laura Pearson.
His district covers 4 counties. The results were very, very late coming in Lincoln. And that's where his opponent, Laura Pearson, collected all of her votes to literally surpass Albert Summers. She told me, quote, I wasn't expecting it. But then again, over the last 3 months, I was going door to door. And she said she was out till like 11 a.m., 2 a.m., getting home at night. She spent some time, walking the pavement to knock on doors and get to meet people.
Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reported on 2 interesting races in Fremont County. In House District 55, incumbent Ember Oakley lost to Joel Guggenmoss, and incumbent Lloyd Larson came from behind to keep his seat, overcoming opponent Tina Clifford.
He was losing early in the night with his main voting center accounted for. So all the Lander in-person voters, they favored Tina Clifford by 85 votes. And then, as you know, those who commuted to Riverton and happened to vote there, those rolled in. Larson closed the gap down to about 60 votes. And then the absentee ballots came in pretty much the last count of the night, and he pulled ahead by more than 200 votes in the end.
And now let's take a look at today's weather with Cowboy State Daily meteorologist Don Day.
Hello, everyone. It's going to be another day where thunderstorm activity is going to pick up after a pretty quiet day on Tuesday. We see on satellite imagery an area of moisture that's coming up out of Arizona that's going to come slowly northeastward, and we'll start to see some of that moisture later today in the south and the west with some late day thunderstorms. Temperatures again today are going to be pretty warm, and do be ready for thunderstorm activity scattered about the state Thursday into Friday. Now, what will happen is that we'll see the warmest temperatures in the east, coolest temperatures in the west, and then that cool down we talked about over the weekend will commence in far western Wyoming first.
You can get Don's full forecast on the Cowboy State Daily website. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
Your attention is precious. That's why Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming works hard to make navigating your healthcare easier. Because having the right health insurance means not having to think about it, letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue.
Cowboy State Daily reporters were spread out across the state from Sublette to Campbell counties, from Jackson to Cheyenne, and brought live results to viewers throughout the evening. Cowboy State Daily's editor-in-chief, Jimmy Orr, said the coverage and the commentary was unprecedented.
It was 100% network TV. We had our 6 panelists, all experts in Wyoming politics, talking about the election results as they came in. And as they came in, the reporters popped up on Zoom from their location. Remember, we were in 11 locations across the state. The panelists that we had on went across the spectrum of politics. All were eloquent and knowledgeable. And then when you take a look at the guests that we had, from U.S. Senator John Barrasso, U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, Representative Harriet Hageman, former governors Mike Sullivan and Dave Friedenthal, And so much could be learned from just hearing these people talk about politics and where we're heading. Just to see the camaraderie that we all had. We're all Wyoming. Speaking about Wyoming issues. That was a fantastic conversation, and how lucky we are to be able to do this.
For in-depth coverage of Tuesday night's primary elections, you can go to cowboystatedaily.com and read more about the issues and topics that influenced voters. You can also go to our YouTube channel where you can recap the election night coverage. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.